Occultists Anonymous and our Into the West Chronicle, Mage Chronicle.
Our Into the West Chronicle, Mage Chronicle, everybody.
Yeah, that thing. Thank you all for joining us. As you can see, I have just Ralph here. It's going to be one of those episodes.
Woo!
Hang on.
Watch yourself, baby.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Special shout outs to our patrons who support us monetarily. Thank you to 1D4Con James, Adele, Alis, Aiden, Alsrit, Bernie, Chris, Doc, Emil, Jeff, George, I'm Lonely, Hi Lonely, I'm Dad, Cat Feathers, Klaus, Milo V3, Moku, Mozart D Minor, Nexus, Nick, Other Guy, Perry, Foog, Polkadot, Hubris, Puppeteer, Riafio, Shaxara, Starfish, The Nowhere King, This Is Hype. You have no idea. Thomas,
no
Tom,
idea,
Verhex,
baby.
And Vortex. Thank you all so much for your support.
Woo!
Thank you for joining
Hyped
us. So, when we last left the Coven, they had arrived back after not really laying much of a beat down, to be fair. It was more of a sternly worded message to Isabel's father, Jose Catalan de Munoz y Romero, in his sanctum, which was a ballsy move. Don't really have this guy really scoped out on his power levels and just decided, we're going to just beam up in here, say, yo, come get your priests. And your intervention is not all that appreciated. And then,
get your boy.
Yeah.
He's fucking up.
Then he, showed off that Salazar now works for him. Creepy vibes. And then, stabbed Isabel with a supernaturally poisoned, diseased dagger. Things were a little dicey, but everything is okay. We can step away. And everybody kind of returned home to rest, knowing that we've kind of put a pin in that. It's not going anywhere. And similar to Legba kind of shouting out, hey, all challengers, bring it on. This is also a reach out to the Seers directly, to Jose directly, saying, keep out. This is our territory. This is our turf. We've even said that to the Serpents after bottling up heartache and stashing away in an urn in a prison. Yeah, we're real subtle with our imagery here, folks.
You know it.
And so where do we pick up with Legba?
Well, Legba's still feeling triumphant, right?
Correct. Had
we
the
pick
great
up probably
duel
with
arcane
him
with
yes.
Apollyon.
Indeed, and his statements about Apollyon's actions being wrong, being incorrect, being the wrong path, being affirmed by the Supernal, the validity of his argument and his defense of his coven, him standing with his coven was affirmed. Yeah, so he's feeling, on top. He is preoccupied with this notion that his path before him is the righteous path. So we pick up with him. Yeah, exactly. Just can't. We pick up with him feeling freer, less burdened than he's felt in a very long time. He's often walking this very fine line, not just because, he's walking in two worlds and he's an elder and a responsible member of a very important and nascent community in Purgatory Bluff. He's also the protector of a great number of liberated peoples. Even though he's not tending to their day-to-day, he's making sure they're not spotted, right? And that is, weighing in his mind, right? His legacy led him to the point that he could do that, right? He has sculpted his soul to the point that he is uniquely capable of making sure that they're not detected.
They're not detected. People in Purgatory Bluff communicate better just by Legba being around, and it doesn't bother anybody. Yeah.
All these things about how his presence has been vital to community. And so he's been very, very careful about how he's walked path, how he's pursued different things, how he's transgressed his own thresholds. As a guardian of the crossroads, he's trying to help others. And I think this is at the time where he's seeing Isabel do more active things, that he realizes it's now a time for him to return to active pursuit of what can lead him in a different direction. He's been a third-degree master for quite a long time at this point. Yeah, a decade. 10 years of integrating those three arcana together has led him to realize that there might be something more out there for him. And so he's going to try. He feels emboldened and encouraged by the supernal to yearn like he hasn't yearned in a long time.
It's true, because you had your little trial with spirit and being like, oh yeah, that's a new thing. Right.
Yep. So he knows he can telepathically communicate with the dogs after his coven told him, right? He's like, focused on his own perspective on things so much that something so novel and useful just kind of went under the radar. So I'd imagine that we pick up with him perhaps coming back from once again triumphantly asserting the validity of the coven to the crew of Supernal Watchers in Metropolis.
Mm-hmm.
He probably would have went and said,
book meeting.
Club. Exactly. He went to book club, and there wasn't anything to report about Supernals. But the last time he was there, he was like, "Hey, everybody should know we took out this guy who was eating Supernals. Anyone want to fuck around? They can come find out." He comes back and says, "Somebody came. They wanted to fuck around, and they found out.
I took his shadow name."
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I took it. I didn't need to kill him. I just took his mage identity. He's done.
Yep.
Y'all want to come? Next person who comes, I'm taking their ID and their shoes. That's what's going to happen. So we come back from that.
He is the bouncer. It's like, this ID is mine.
Yeah.
Cutting this up. All right, get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
We as we talk, it's cool too, because in the beginning we talked about the different cabal respective responsibilities that are affirmed in the diamond, right? And the door warden seemed like the one that would make the most sense for Leg, but based on his orientation and his past, right? Mm-hmm. But not sure. And so we all decided collectively we're going to share those responsibilities, right?
It's a small group effectively enough.
It's a small group, right? That's what happened. But it kind of shifted that way as we were told, as young mages, we were told, these aren't really responsibilities that people choose, right? It's not like an assertion of who deserves this. This just become the things that you do. And as a consequence, you will rely on each other. And when you recognize the way that you do that, then you'll be able to trust each other more because you have expectations and you have accountability. So coming back in all this, he's focusing more on that he has been really functioning this on thresholds. And so he thinks about what is that threshold left? What is that threshold left? So the first thing is he needs to see if he can perform a non-left-handed manipulation of the destiny of people in Purgatory Bluff.
Dangerous.
Yes, yep. Absolutely. Fate would be direct.
Mm-hmm.
But sort of. Might not be successful.
Because it's
right?
Fate, but yeah.
Yes, right. I mean, if capital D destiny, casting, right?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Appealing to a supernal being for a boon.
Kind of same
thing.
Indirect,
right?
But still.
Mm-hmm. Becoming lord of the town and controlling them.
Way too direct.
Yes, right? And so he thinks about it and he realizes that perhaps they deserve an opportunity to experience what he is experiencing. Legba feels this triumphant sensation, not just in his body, but in his mind, in his oneros, right? In his soul, of having this supernal affirmation, of having stood with his coven, right? As he stated at the beginning of the arcane duel, he was taking this responsibility because Isabel Petrichor chose another responsibility. Although he abhors, violence as a first course, once it was done, as he said from the beginning, right? Like we share burdens. She chose that burden And so therefore he has to choose this burden. We deal with the consequences together because that's what it means to be together. When in the past, long in the past, he would consider it to be very much compartmentalized. And as MSC goes, right, very explicitly compartmentalized, right? But he's been in their minds. Everybody's been his for so long that he now thinks there is something I can share. So he is feeling unburdened, and he thinks there might be a way to unburden the dreamers that are in Purgatory Bluff, so that, like him, they can walk aloft.
What are we doing?
So, after coming back, he will, of course, walk a tour of the town. Before he enters the dreams of everyone that night, Legba goes on walkabout.
In town.
In town. That's right. Exactly.
The inverse walkabouts.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm just joking around.
Yeah.
Legba does Legba visits with people. Yep. Like he hasn't really done in a long time. He goes around and he spends some FaceTime with people, engaging them.
I would go so far as to say it's something that Legba probably does regularly.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
But this time, it's not rote and ritual. Right? It's
yes,
go around, I check in with everybody. It's kind of normal. And especially after a decade, probably hasn't been doing it the entire decade. It's probably more recent-ish thing, but even for a couple years, and you're doing this regularly, you're seeing the same faces, you guys end up having the same conversations, you talk about the same things with the same people, but this time it's different.
Yes. It is different. He's trying to see what holds people back, and he's asking deeper questions. He's trying to see if there's something he can learn from their interactions that won't directly help him facilitate something he's trying to achieve. If he can help them achieve something they're trying to achieve. And so instead of giving really inspiring words as he is wont to, right? Try and go there, give them encouragement, quote some passages, quote some scripture, right? Say something really nice, very thoughtfully worded, right? So that it lingers in their consciousness, and in their darkest hour, they will think about the thing that Legba said, right?
Yep.
He's going to see if he can understand what things they're holding within them that might be holding them back, that regardless of anything he could possibly say to them would prevent them from achieving what they want to achieve.
I like that. Yeah, so we'll just pause there 1 second. Let me pull up.
Great.
Yeah, there he is. Jorge Bartolome.
Fantastic.
And for those of you who are longtime fans of Into the West, you remember Jorge. He's the town tailor. We introduced him ages ago. He worked with Gisela on some things, but yeah, Jorge here is also part of the big ol' clan with Anastasio. It's his brother. Yeah. And Jorge, he's got his wife Edna. She's the Scottish lady, so she's Edna Gilmore de Bartolome. And yeah, there's it's a good comfy house to be in. It's a nice because you're not standing on the porch. Yeah, come in, having a little conversation, just 5, 10, 15 minutes, because he's a tailor. He can talk with you in his shop, which is his house. Edna brings water, and you guys chatting about what's going on. Jorge is giving you the honestly the small business owner struggles of town small. Yeah, I mend rips and tears, but almost any housewife in town knows how to do that. So the real tailor work, the real weaving and putting something together unique, it comes up super infrequently. He and Edna make all the wedding dresses, but even most of those are just regular dress done up a little extra, right? We're not talking big, white wedding, gowns that we have in the modern era and stuff like that. And he's just talking about like, it's kind of unfulfilling. Like he knows how to do this stuff, but he has no reason to do it, and there's no benefit to it. He used to, but and he kind of even shows you around, like there's a couple nice things he's got. He has silk shirts in his shop, but nobody buys silk shirts in Purgatory Bluff. Why would you, right? It's just super expensive. People don't have the money, so he's got that, and he's able to do some work, but for the most part, he'll buy stuff from Theo and the textile mill, and make some okay shirts, just a regular shirt, different materials, but he's not an artist, right? He doesn't get to experiment. He doesn't get to do stuff because nobody's going to buy it. Nobody's going to, he's not going to profit from it. It's just going to sit there and, get moth eaten and stuff like that. So.
Like I said, I was not going to do a lot of exhorting people to think beyond what's limiting them, more so understanding. But he does ask a follow-up question. Right? He does ask follow-up questions to make sure he understands. He would say, what would you do if you had any option?
I don't know. I don't want to make gowns or anything like that, but I would make new things. Well, because we don't have balls and nobody's going to wear, great big floofy dresses, and like Edna's back here behind him, like you're gonna have to be practical. There's gonna have to be a reason to wear them, but
he says says, why not? Forgive, and he says, forgive my relative naivete. Why not? Why not hold the ball? I'm not suggesting something specific. I'm just, if it's your heart desire to make gowns, wouldn't you want to have a chance to make gowns?
Kind of looks and shrugs, and he's just like, perhaps, but it like, and talking with him, you get that read of like, he can't see the next step, the beyond, the like.
Gotcha. Cool. Awesome. This is so good. This is so perfect for with a here. Right. And people can't see beyond. He's gonna be like, I need to see beyond. Right.
But there's for him, he is stuck in the world is what it is, and it is unlikely to change. And I can't do much to change it because I just live here. Like, I'm not the mayor. I don't have a ton of money, right? I don't have blank, right? The very classic, kind of. What do I do? Even in the modern era, it's like, listen, if I don't have the right connections, I can't do anything.
Yeah. What am I supposed to do?
Yep.
So what if I want to do this? I don't know how to get there.
Yep.
I don't know how to get past the threshold.
Yep.
Sleipner finds it really helpful. And like I said, he is very specifically trying to understand them, not trying to be the source of inspiration, but really try and know why he should even try and inspire people.
Right. Yeah.
Some people might not want that. They might be satisfied, right? For a long time, he's acted... These people, right? He has that paternalistic perspective as a mage, right? He tries to avoid controlling them, but still, as an elder and a teacher and a religious leader, right? People need things from you when you're in a position of authority, right? So let me try and give it to them whenever I can. But his role in connecting with the community sometimes to just be listening to what they're saying.
Yep.
Even if they're saying they're satisfied.
Yep. Yeah. And you go through and meet with other folks, and some folks, they are content. They're like, no, this is great. Purgatory Bluff is perfect. It's secure. We have a mayor who, isn't taxing us to death. We have stable food, which is a big thing because across the river it's a total breadbasket and it just grows so well. All that kind of stuff. Relationships with Native Americans are comfortable, right? The fort is not too far away. If relations change, like they're like this place is it's comfortable, right? They're very content, right? There's a big difference between being happy and being content.
Absolutely. Quite true. So he's happy to see that, there are some who are like that, and also pays attention to the fact that there's some who aren't. And, a rising tide lifts all boats, even the ones that are securely moored.
Good metaphor.
Thank you. So he takes that into account and then allows his thoughts and body to wander for a while until he gets to some point on the witching hour when everyone's soundly asleep.
Yep.
And he takes stock of where he is. Because he's used to paying very close attention to all aspects of space around him, right? Like, especially with the outward and the inward eye constantly on, right? The dimensions of every object he encounters, it's all a flat plane. But this time he's letting himself see, where am I going to enter?
Yeah, find yourself in my head, as you said that, it is just walking down the main, the main road, the only major pathway. Though at this point now probably actually has some good like wagon rut, and stuff like that. It's become worn, and mirrored in the Temenos, walking that same path, like just drawn here to the middle. Yes, the farm is out there and stuff like that, but to the heart, right outside Madame Robert's tavern, in saloon, bar, whatever she's calling it that day, right? And just finding yourself there in the middle. And it's not even especially with your space on, like there's probably a part of you that it's like it's not the center. Right, like there's definitely, like, I know right where in, like, the center's geographically in somebody's like kitchen, that's over there, but no, here this is the spot, this is the middle of town. It's not even the middle of the bubble, right? The imps bubble.
Yes.
But when people think of Purgatory Bluff, this is the thing that comes forefront to their mind, is like, oh yeah, if you stand right here you can see everything.
Fantastic. Then I think spontaneously, because he's in this triumphant mood and he's yearning and he wants to help people seek thresholds, he does something he has not yet done, somewhat intuitively, because it seems right to him. And he teleports bodily directly into the Timonic version of Purgatory Bluff.
So your astral self winks out and you have the sensation, not condition, sensation of soul shock, where your astral self, which you have had active for decades, right, slips away. And your body, which is Jean-Paul Pierre, right, is in the Temenos, not Legba. Much as you take that name, much as you embody it in your shadow name, as much as you pantomime being that person, you are not. And find yourself physically in Purgatory Bluff, without any protection, without any ambient, without the use of your mental or social traits. For defense and strength, you have to rely on your physical stature, and probably feel quite vulnerable and exposed, even in the middle of Purgatory Bluff, where there are Goche that swing by and should recognize you, but do not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He is now in the dream version of Purgatory Bluff.
Sort of, yeah.
What I mean is, bear with me for a second. In the version of himself that he is so rarely acknowledged is still with him. So he has this idealized experience with this version of Purgatory Bluff. And he has intuitively decided that he needs to at least once abandon the disguise in the one place where he cannot possibly keep it up.
Yep.
Because the years of social prestige and responsibility is such that even abandoning the shadow name temporarily, he cannot be someone who is unrecognized in the town. In a mundane sense, he's very prominent there. And as a mage as well as Legba, he is, right? But now there's the version of him that has never visited this version of Purgatory Bluff, which is the version he wants to understand more and the version he actually wants to empower. And if he wants to, what he believes is that he realizes after teleporting is that if he really wants to do something to it, he needs to be there making himself vulnerable to the consequences.
Sure, I like that.
So, of course, he will not be here forever. After, he didn't realize what would happen. He's going to then reignite things and realize he needs to go do this a different way after this brief moment.
Mm-hmm.
He'll reconcile with his daemon and also feel what it's like to dream for the first time without walking in both worlds after a decade. And that naive perspective, that beginner's mind, once again, will be very helpful for him for what comes after this. So he's gone to the corresponding location in his physical body. And he first tries to go to the tailor's house. And he tries to think himself there because he's taken for granted over a decade. No, actually more than a decade at this point, right? Mm-hmm. That is just how it happens, that it would be instantaneous. And it doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, and specifically because previously, you were moving by thought.
Yep.
But now, and even astrally, you would move there, but through thought. Now and it is plotting. There is an aspect of wrongness here that you probably didn't even expect. It's that's fine. I'm going to go there. And then you just realize just how much, not only are you vulnerable, you are not necessarily unwelcome, but you're unfamiliar. And now as you start to move, your mind is racing with thoughts, and I'm just going to walk over there. And your body just moves not through molasses, just as if it was just leaden, or your muscle. No, I think it's just ploddingly slow. It's not even like your muscles aren't working. It's just everything. You have to think about every bend and move. You are playing Astral Quap.
Yeah. I was about to suggest. And we all know everyone's really bad at that.
Everybody is bad at it. And it is just this, I have to think about everything. There is no relying on natural motion, natural reaction, any of that. It doesn't seem to work right. And you are thinking through every muscle contraction, and it is the extreme equivalent of you are breathing manually now.
Yeah. Wow.
And so, yes, I mean, in actuality, it probably doesn't take you long to walk over to the tailor's house, but for you, for Legba, it is like being trapped in a meat robot, right?
Compared
to how natural all of this was for so long. So after the interminable eternity that it takes you to walk over to the tailor's house, 10 seconds, you arrive.
Fantastic. He has an idea. So he's outside the tailor's house. What does it look like?
Very, very similar to honestly how it has looked for the past decade. Probably a little bit cleaner, probably a little bit, it's much like many of the homes here. They look freshly whitewashed or, done up and fixed up and cleaned up, just because the town feels that way about itself, even if that's not how it looks in reality. Walk around your house sometime, guys, and look at all the little spots of paint that aren't right or anything like that, but you don't think about it because you live here. Everything is fine. But go walk around, you'll see all the little marks on your wall. That's not what is seen in Purgatory Bluff. Everything in Purgatory Bluff is right.
Fantastic. That's great.
Yep.
So let's see. Likely I spent some time thinking about how sleepers interact with the astral realms. Not just indirectly through their thoughts causing things, but there must be some at least tenuous connection, right? If you can, so long ago, right? He jumped into Theodosia's Aneros through shared thought. They were thinking at the same time, and he believes everyone's connected, right? That he has believed that so much more strongly over the years, and those threads of connection, the chains that link everyone, have become so much more obvious to him. So he's outside the tailor's house, and the tailor represents something pretty important in a town, especially a town in a place like Purgatory Bluff. People do hard things. They have hard jobs. It's dusty. People get their clothes dirty. They need to be mended. There are children running around, all these things. So the tailor is really important because clothes are important to people. Comfortable clothes are important. Uncomfortable clothes will cause chafing. Uncomfortable clothes won't keep you warm and safe. There are many reasons why clothes, especially in this situation, right, are a big deal for a town. A town can't grow if people can't be clothed. In the same way they can't grow if people can't eat, if they don't feel safe, if they don't have support, if children can't learn, all these things, right? So he waits for a bit to observe and to see what he expects to see is, Goche going in and out, or people visiting, or some indication that there is communication between this entity in the demonic version of Purgatory Bluff and the others.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, wait.
If you stand there is the rank 0 actors, right? These people, faceless, or actually, as Purgatory Bluff is, these amalgamations of the denizens, right? Because
cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
None of the individual people in Purgatory Bluff, even our mages, do not have enough Temenic resonance to have even a rank 1, right? Yeah. Because there's not enough people thinking about them and elevating them to create something like that. The closest might be Legba or Theo, just because of the number of people who look to them. Actually, and maybe probably Isabel because of the security aspect. But yeah, so, and those folks aren't even Legba or Baba Sarah. It's who they represent. It's Widow Stokes and Cloak. And but those don't exist. So it's just rank 0 actors walking about their day, stepping in. Even if you look into the tailor's house, it is Jorge's place. But the person behind the counter mostly looks like Jorge, but he also kind of looks like his brother. And, it's still indistinct. Like, even perhaps people are like, wait, is it Jorge who's the tailor, or is it Anastasio? I can't ever remember. Actually, that's probably not accurate because it's a small town. But it is that, like, they're all kind of the same, right? They're all part of that big family, right? And so you can't really interchange them, but they're kind of like, if I talk to Jorge and tell him something, Anastasio is going to find out. If I ask Anastasia something, Jorge can answer later, right? Like it's that family. So, and Enda's there. And similarly, she looks like many of the other housewives, just because within the Temenos, all these people kind of blend and blur a little bit because they're sleepers, right? Yes. And they have roles, they have jobs, they do them, but it's not anything bigger than that. It's a tailor.
Makes sense.
Not Jorge the tailor.
Yes, absolutely. So as he experienced with his first interactions with Niakis, you want something to be special, right? You have to invest in it being special. So these actors coming in and out, if they're going and doing things that they represent they should, the tailor's thought of as a place where people go and get clothes minute or they get new clothes, right?
Yep.
And I imagine that a lot of the clothes are kind of nondescript because, the clothes aren't thought about specifically. And also, Jorge is not trying to make his clothes the height of fashion, right? He is in the business of utilitarian, respectable clothes, right?
The same, like making the same pair of pants that's going to work just fine for the farmer, the miner, or one of Enright's guards.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. So Legba is going to cast a spell because he is, upon walking here, he was checking in with himself. This is his first time doing it. He's like, am I still me? Right? Was that a part of the material? Right? Did I need to bring that in through my dream self? Have I crossed the threshold and made a mistake? And so noticing he still has his magic.
Yep.
Still can work his will. He's going to cast a spell. So he's going to enter. And let's see, what is he going to do? Yeah, he's going to first cast a knowing spell of space. To try and know where. Oh, no. He'll cast a conjunctional spell of space, mind, and prime. And it is because it's the astral realms, and he's trying to know where the goetic construct is that represents the truth of clothing. Where it is within the tailor's house. Like, because of course they're engaging and that stuff can be conjured, but there's got to be a shelf where there's like the thread, like the stuff that is, these are the materials for clothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it might not be as, it might not be elaborated in all of the various parts that go into the process of creating these clothes, because not everybody is thinking about all that except for Jorge, right? They're thinking about clothes coming in and out. But I imagine there's some aspect of they go in there, the one of the rank 0 actors, gets the thing and gives it to the people. They go in there, they want something fixed, it goes over the machine, that kind of thing. Like, in like a simplified version, what you see in some games.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you were trying to get the goetic of clothing.
Yeah, clothing in the shop, right? Or like the thing that they're bringing away, but he's thinking of it as clothing.
Okay, yeah. I was like, hang on, that's going to be a tremendous journey. We're going to close your way somewhere. Okay, I got you.
No. Just whatever is here that represents the clothing that people fix or they go and buy new, whatever that is. He's thinking it must be simple.
Yeah, and just a quick knowing spell, just kind of drawing in all your arcana and going, point out the clothing and everything in here, right, is part of it, right? Some of the stuff isn't. There's a table, there's a bed over there, because and let's be real, it's a tailor shop, right? It's not a clothing store, right?
Yes.
Because he may have a couple things that he's made probably a long time ago, and that's been sitting there. But everything else is, hey, I need a shirt. Okay, come back tomorrow. I'll have you a shirt. I got a couple of these fabrics. What do you want me? So much of what is there is bolts of fabric, right?
Great.
And then, some clothes that need to be fixed or repaired or, anything like that. Because anything to extend the life of hand-me-downs, right? In a place like this.
Of course, absolutely. Yeah.
And so, that stuff is sitting there waiting to be worked on. And then even that is, if you look away, the pants become a shirt, becomes a blouse, becomes a, right?
Fantastic. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. This is what Legba was hoping for. He's so focused on chains, and over the years, the chains in his mind, based on his connections to others, have rattled and clinked, and one of them in particular lately has clinked a lot, and that is a chain linking him to Gisela. And so he's been thinking a lot about threads, and so coming to talk to a tailor and being inspired to help people, and then as part of his own yearning, is really relevant to how threads are really important, where threads lead us, and the threads that tie us together. So as an aside, I also had a character recognize that hand-me-downs can be really meaningful to mend, because it can be a big deal if you're wearing a dress that your mother owned, or a suit that your one of your parents owned, or a pair of pants that your sibling owned, right? Like it's a big deal. So in a place like this, with all the history and all that, like people being able to use clothing that belonged to people they loved is a really big deal. So what he wants to do is then cast, let's see, is he going to do this? I think he's going to do this. He's going to imbue the house. He wants to imbue the house with, so I'm going to be, this is an improvised spell. Let me tell you about what I want, what my goals are. So let's talk about this. Okay. This is likely going to have to be a conjunctional spell. The goals are, the house has an effect such that when people take the things away from it, it will retain that effect elsewhere. Much in the same way that if you create an imbued object that has a spell of protection, and the imbued object, or you're casting a spell on a number of pebbles, that kind of thing, right? The pebbles grant the protection, right? So, but it's going to be relatively simple, okay? So people think of Purgatory Bluff as being just right. But some people want their experience to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
One way is, actually, you know what? Have you ever read the book Rainbow Fish?
I have not.
Okay. So it's a great kids book. It's about this, very, very quickly, I'll say this, about this beautiful fish in the sea, has rainbow scales. A little fish comes up and says, "Hey, I love your scales. Can I have a scale?" And rainbow fish is like, "No, I keep all my scales myself. They're the best," right? And then little fish is like, "Oh," and goes away. Then another sea animal comes up and says, "Hey, can I have a rainbow scale?" And the rainbow fish is like, "No, do that," right? And so eventually, rainbow fish doesn't have anybody to play with, because rainbow fish didn't want to share their beauty with everybody.
Sure.
And then has a heart to heart, and realizes that I can share. Everyone else, I have such beautiful scales. If I shared a little bit of these scales with everybody else, gave everyone else a scale, I would have a shiny scale, and everyone would have a shiny scale, and everyone will be happy. So ends up gaining all the friends in the sea as a consequence of sharing that, right? Now, of course, you can think about, hey, people should be able to keep their sparkle, right? And everybody should respect that. But it's really about sharing the parts of yourself that people enjoy, and that can lead to strong connection. So Legba would want the clothes in Purgatory Bluff that are taken from this place to sparkle just a little bit. But that he would want that to be a representation of yearning.
Okay, I like that. Now, I will let you know, for Legba, this will be futile. Yep. I think Ralph already knows that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's the point, right? That's the point of all of this, right?
Yep. So yeah, you spend some time, which fortunately it is the Temenos, and so things work a little bit easier, but you're here in your meat. And so
it's never done this before.
And so time is working.
Rolling up the arm. Yep.
Yeah. And so things are disjointed for you. Sometimes people seem to be flowing at a normal speed. Sometimes they just seem to be moving just incredibly fast. But you spend some time, ritually cast, prepare, and set down a strong spell that lingers on the works that are done here. Kind of leaning a little bit into what probably should be matter, but it is, the Temenic things, and you're wanting to have an effect on thought and feeling and stuff like that.
Yeah. Exactly.
You lay down the spell and watch as people come and go. And I think Legba realizes the futility the moment he watches somebody pick up something. There's the want non-conversation, and they walk out with a shirt, and that shirt's gone by the time the rank gets 2 or 3 houses down, because it's not a real entity. It's not a real thing. You've laid on something in this Temenic realm which reflects the soul, and has, as you saw with Niakis, it's you're not getting a lot of effect back down the chain. To use to back into the material, back into the fall. Well, this, if the astral is the fallen world, even into the material world.
Okay, so that was really helpful for him. So having accepted that, he then goes back into the material.
Where do you teleport to? Probably not into the Taylor's house.
No. I mean, he definitely wants to go into the Taylor's house at a certain point, but he's not going to teleport directly in there. That'd be a mistake, because he's
it's 4 a.m.
He cannot. Yes, and he can't see, right? He doesn't know what's happening, right? He's not walking in both worlds. He has no idea what's going on.
Yeah, true.
So he has to be safe, and so he teleports to the mines.
Yep, into the dark. Yep, good connection there, and just steps out.
The place he's teleported to the most. So
I'm curious, out of habit, does Legba walk his meat space in the Temenos to the mines before teleporting?
Yes.
I was like, he probably gets there and starts to actually cast, because he can't use his legacy for this, and goes,
that's
I didn't have to walk here. I didn't have to do this.
Yes, exactly.
Just because even for mages, you start getting used to the certain ways you do things. It's like, wait, hang on. I'm not.
Of course.
Yep.
It's been decades.
Yep.
Taken for granted.
Teleport, and you are in the mines, and only in the mines.
Okay. Yep. So, well, you know what he needs to do again.
But does he?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. No, he said he needed to do this just him. The next step is going to be completely asleep. So that's a really good point. No, he doesn't. He doesn't yet. He then walks down to the Taylor's house.
Mm-hmm. It is quiet. It is dark. Everybody's asleep. There's a couple candles out, calling for, assistance, and, Baba Sarah or Petrichor, somebody will come see to them one of these days. Because I'll be honest, Petrichor, the whole coven, they know what these people are complaining about. They know what they're asking about.
Yeah, totally.
We can triage. Like, I understand that your kid has a cough. He's okay. Right. He doesn't need some miraculous saving. It hurts for mages, I think, to be like, I could cure that with like a snap of my finger, but if I do, that can lead to dangers. And so it's like, sorry, the kid is not sleeping through the night and has got a cough. Petrichor went over and laid hands and touched and be like, okay, they're gonna be okay. Isabel already checked it out. Sorry, nobody's coming to visit in the middle of the night. No creepy witch is coming in the middle of the night. Let me see your baby. Probably for the best.
Yeah, maybe. All right, cool. So so the first thing he does is he casts a spell, knowing space, or I guess this is it unveiling? Let me think. I think it's unveiling. He just wants to understand where everything is in the house.
Oh, sure. Yeah. He does this.
Great. Perfect. Just like laying it out,
Yep.
And he, now knowing where everything is in the house, is then going to he's going to cast a spell here to do basically the same thing that he did and tried to do in the astral.
Okay.
What he wants to do, but instead it's going to be more directed. He wants to, in the same way that people gather good luck charms, he's going to try and create a good thought thread. He wants the threads that Jorge weaves into people's garments not to be particularly shiny or noteworthy, but just to make them feel less burdened by their own self-doubt or self-recrimination. That anyone who gets even a small tear mended, the thread that he is weaving into it will feel a little bit bolstered in their dreams. Now, of course, as we talked about ahead of time, right? Legba is thinking that he could do this.
Yep.
It's also okay if he learns that is not possible. Like if he gets a 404 error for a URL that he thinks should exist.
Yeah, because I think you are running into, because even with Prime, right, to actually imbue it, you are running into, I mean, dude, you're not an archmage. You can't cast spells that change targets, right? So even if you imbue this thread, okay, the thread is that can do a thing. If it gets separated from the rest of the thread, is it still the thing? And then you're then asking the thread to have an effect on people. Yep. And so you can't quite do that like with a matter thing. You might be, because I feel like there's a spell called where is this? It might be Crucible, which increases their availability, so therefore its value. And I think there's one in Signs and Sorcery called Give Me That, which when people look upon it, they want it. But that is the thing coming off of the matter. You're trying to affect mind on an object.
Yes, that's right. As a consequence, the other way around.
Legba is sitting there ever so slightly creepily kind of senses into the tailor's house, like, I'm going to do things to your thread. And
hearkening back to those initial conversations that you reminded me of earlier, totally, when Legba was first chatting with the Coven about their perspectives on the use of mind magic, and Craig and Theo both referred to even knowing spells for mind, like looking through a window that somebody doesn't want you to see through, right? Instead of creepily, trying to cast, he does look through a window here, if he can, to see the thread. Yeah. Instead of just acting like a space mage. Yes, just scrying, right? He's like, look, I'm going to be creepy here, but I can in the meat look at the thread. I'm going to look at the thread. So in his mind, he is doing something that is less creepy. Does that make sense? Like if he just looks at it with the window as opposed to scrying into somebody's house. I would go so far as to say less abusive. Oh, okay, perfect. Right? Yes, there we go.
Because listen, if somebody pulls their curtains closed.
Perfect. Yes, there we go. Great.
Right, they have opted in. I don't want you to see it. But in this particular case, there are a lot of the curtains that are closed, but the large curtain that kind of acts as like the store window, right, is open. It's dark within, which is not really a problem for Legba. But and you can see there in what is effectively the front room, the work room kind of stuff, clothing laid out, things like that, and several of Jorge's like better done vests, I think, would probably be a big one, right? Because like that's the thing that you add on to elevate an outfit in this day and age. The work table there, where it would have nice light coming through, is almost right before you.
Great. Fantastic. Cool. So looking at that, that's when he would attempt to cast a spell. And so let me not say and so it would make sense then that he's conceived of this. It didn't work in the astral. because of how the astral functions. So he's thinking it wasn't an issue with the spell.
Right. It's like, I just got to use it on the actual thread. And you cast the spell, and you're kind of looking at it and like walking through the next events of what will likely happen with this thread, and realize it's like, okay, the imago took shape, and it would have an effect, except every time he uses that thread, he's going to cut it, and it will no longer be part of the thread. He can't ever use it. And even if you took just the entire spool and stitched it up, the effect is going to be on like the clothing, right? You can't get it to the person because, okay, you've imbued this thread of happy thoughts, and it gets put into a piece of clothing, and it becomes part of that clothing. And now that clothing has happy thoughts. I'm like, no, I want it farther. I want it to get to the person. Yes. And you realize that you're just not equipped for that.
I think Legba lets out a sigh of disappointment. It is probably deeper, both in the inhalation and the exhalation, than it has been in a while, considering that triumphant mood, right? You know, at a higher peak of belief. Yes, a belief in his own ability. And this is, he can think of it. It was straightforward, you know? When before he wouldn't hear
the concept is there.
Yeah. It's perfect, right? I worked it out. I thought about it. I even experimented on doing it in a different realm. Then I came back here. He's not even paying attention to the fact that it is, you know, that teleporting into the astral itself is something he should talk to people about, right? But so after that, he feels dissatisfied, and he then decides that he needs to do something he hasn't done in a very long time, which is go to sleep.
Yep.
Actually, go to sleep.
Go dream.
Yes, go dream. Sorry. Yes, go dream. Yes. And so he goes back to the mines.
Oh, not
his house.
Okay.
Well, you know what? He's a person. Yeah. For the first time, he's going to enter the astral realms from his house.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's going to go home.
And actually, like, gets ready for bed, which let's be very clear for those of you outside. He doesn't sleep. Yes, he sleeps, but he lays his body down, lets his body rest, but his mind is still active in the astral. And so there is no dream time. He just explores the astral. And if any of you are like, but what about his mind needing rest? He's a mind mage. Where have you been in the past 80 episodes? Yes. So yeah, for the first time in, like we said, a decade, lay down and like you probably have that moment of like, because I imagine you're going in for lucid dreaming anyways, but of you like, oh yeah, like, and it's a nostalgic feeling at this point, because previously it was like, I'm gonna lay my body down, close my eyes, and just kind of let that wander and focus all my attention out to the astral. And instead there is no distraction, there is nothing else. It's just quiet, it's dark, dogs and coyotes outside yapping at each other, which, you know, is soothing. The fact that some of it seems to sound like human speech, so it's a little off-putting, but it's okay. It's another thing. I need to rest. And I mean, you've had a long day. You went down to Mexico City and came back. It's still that same night, right? And so late, you fall asleep and drift into, like I said, lucid dreaming. But as you enter into your dream, and you feel the familiar presence of your daemon, who is not in the dream, right? But is more present in the dream. And again, it's this nostalgic feeling, and you step into, as opposed to probably almost Legba's expectation of stepping into Metropolis, right?
Yep.
Or stepping into, is it Port-au-Prince?
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But instead, you step into a disjointed, like, it's a nightmare. Right? It's this sensation and twisting, like, classic. And of course, lucid dreaming, a lot of the fear that might have affected you is kind of pushed back. But it's, this like helplessness, or the urge to try, especially considering what you were just saying, like, one of those kind of dreams. And it's all just kind of a smear of emotions and stuff. You're not even really seeing a coherent thought because it's dream, right? It's the painterly, smear of sensation, right? A flash of vision here, a thought here, an emotional tug here, and occasionally enough of a garbled dream speak conversation that leaves you feeling kind of irritated, is attempted to, right? Again, lucid Legba gets to put that full, like, nah, this doesn't touch me, but you can, like, you were in the dream and just what your mind is conjuring up.
That's great. That's not what he would imagine. Even after all this time, he's thinking, my daemon and I have a lock on my mind.
I control it.
If I am yearning to do better, it's going to be inspirational. I'm going to see or experience a version of the same kinds of things I try and say to people on a regular basis. Nice thoughtful exhortations, gentle nudging, bright lights, soothing words, all these things. Not discordance, not disquiet.
Nope. Like, and lucid dreaming, you could force it, but no, naturally,
he's not going to.
Your emotion, and I bet that's probably a big thing for Legba, is realizing, oh right, I do have emotions, and I do not I've not cast spells to control them.
Mm-hmm.
I have a tight grip on how I react to things and make conscious efforts on what I react to, but I have all these emotions still inside, all these Goetia, from the mass. Other mages may look at it differently, but for a mind mage, all these Goetia are acting up inside of me, and it's like, those are still here. And when I dream, I yield to them and kind of take my hands off the reins. Again, at any point, Legba can grab hold, but for the moment, I'm imagining he's just like, all right, let's see where this goes.
Yep, totally. He lets it go until, I think what he imagined he hears is probably lapping in a shore.
Okay.
Shorelines have always represented for him, a threshold, that something beyond, right? Because you imagine being at a pier at Port-au-Prince when he was a kid and looking out into the ocean and imagining what would be different somewhere else, and even as a young adult, right, being in such troubling circumstances and yearning to be elsewhere, and then being in the middle of a vast continent, not really seeing the outside of it or seeing the ocean for a very, very long time. He keeps it within his mind because it's a strong representation of the yearning to go beyond, the yearning to cross the horizon and get to what's beyond it, to get what's next. And so that's when he chooses to enter his Oneros.
Sure. And step from nightmare into the water into, and I like the idea of just hearing the lapping, being in the water, and then kind of stepping out. The ankles of trousers and the boots wet. They dry quickly, but as you step out onto the shore, kind of Captain Jack Sparrow, dismount off like sinking ship of a dream and be like, all right, I'm back. All right, hang on, we got to do something about this.
Exactly. So then he calls her name, and I imagine she taps him on the shoulder.
Yeah, we haven't done that in a while.
And he says, I suppose there are many ways to put it, but I've forgotten that I still need to dream just like anyone else.
Don't need to, but it's probably good for you, yes.
I think that there's more dreaming to be done. I think there's a kind of dreaming that no one else but me could do.
You are the only person who dreams your dreams.
He nods and he says, What if all of this were a dream? What if I dreamed this? What if I were sleeping elsewhere? Much in the same way that... And he paused for a second. He says, What if I were in a different place? And to be there, in the material, it were a dream.
She kind of makes this face at you and kind of shrugs. She's like, I mean, from what we understand, from what you know, and she, like, as if she has some secret up her sleeve, which she literally could not. But she says, from all you know, this is all just dreams of the supernal. This is the supernal made manifest. Somewhere there is some supernal symbol of Legba or Purgatory Bluff or all of this, and this is just the manifestation of it. Because I don't think Legba necessarily knows Plato's metaphor of the cave, but she's like,
not perfectly. Yeah, it's certainly not.
But she's like, it's all a dream, but it doesn't change anything if we have action that we can take. And she says, we very strongly, if we have action we can take and there's something we can do, then we do it regardless of whether or not it's a dream.
I meant something different, and you know it, but that was the answer I needed to hear. He says, for all our life, I've yearned to cross the ocean, to sail across it, to leave behind that which holds me back.
It can be done.
I think there is an ocean we must cross.
It's a big one.
Then it must have the greatest destination on the other side.
It's been done. But if we do this, and you can hear the nerves to her, and she's always been just as confident as Legba feels, right?
Yes, and or it's like it presents himself, right? So
better way to put that, yes. But she's like, I don't even know. Well, I do know where we start, but there's a step, and she lifts her foot up above the water, right, as if to step onto it. And we take that step, and it's all new. And I mean, it's like when we awoke, it's there is no guidance. It'll be wild, and we lucked out once awakening. Well, it wasn't entirely luck, and like the image of Archmaid Rilla is there, and she just punches, and like it just dissolves into smoke.
It's hilarious. She conjures her and punches her. That's so good.
Because again, like there's some of this stuff that is Legba. Legba is not able to do violence, but he can definitely think violent thoughts, and the Daemon is more than happy to draw on some of that. But yeah, it's like, but I mean, it was luck and manipulation that allowed us to bring our, I think she probably even says family, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's how he thinks about it, of course.
To bring our family to Purgatory Bluff, to be where we needed to be. Then again, manipulation, but that might, I mean, and then, you know, she kind of leans in. It's literally only you two, because that's all that actually is here. And leans in kind of conspiratorially and like,
yes,
but we could be better. And like with the same way somebody is good, right?
Yeah.
You know, we could be better than she is.
Yes. And we have more family to bring.
They'll have to take that step alone too.
Yes.
We can
tell
them.
But if we open, go ahead,
yeah. We can tell them.
But if we open the way.
I actually like the idea that they say that together.
Yes. yes, exactly.
They're thinking the same thoughts and having the different aspects of it. But we open the door, and then and so she,
and like a lighthouse on a distant shore.
Well, more like a watchtower. And so she reaches out and takes your hand.
Yeah.
And then bends and grabs your foot and steps you up, and just like, this is probably for Legba a new sensation. She kicks you out of the Oneros.
Whoa!
And so you have one of two options, because it's the same options any Archmage has when leaving the Oneros. You can wake up, or you can step into the Temenos.
Ooh, you said any Archmage.
No, like any mage can pick.
I know, but you said like any Archmage. I think.
I know what you're talking
about. Let's see. What is the right choice? The Temenos is what he's known. He needs to go beyond it.
So step one, into the Temenos. Stepping in, I feel, not even Purgatory Bluff, but into Metropolis. The real place that changes. And there is a car. You know, it's a train station, but there's just this one lone car. Well, not car, one engine with one car. And it very rarely moves. And but it is
fantastic.
It is old school, original model locomotive. You know, black,
great imagery,
traced with gold, and you know, a luxury car, but there's bits of wear and tear here, right? It shows its age, much the way like an old hotel does, right? It's like, sorry guys, we have this. There was a hotel I went to, I loved it to death, but it had tiny doorways into its elevators. Because it used to be, they had some description of what it used to be, but then they replaced it. They put the elevators in, but they left the original door frame. So instead of having huge wide double doors for an elevator like you might be used to, it has this very small gap to get into the elevator. Same kind of thing, showing its age and proud of it.
Fantastic.
And it is labeled Anima Mundi.
He gets on.
All right. For sake of time, and because the challenge of moving through the Anima Mundi is not the point of this.
Nope.
We walk through and pushing through the ecstatic wind.
Yes.
To a place we have been before. We have done this. It's been a while. It's about a decade. Where the abyss lies before you. Broken ground, and somewhere out there, though you cannot see it, the other side of the infinite nothing, on the other side of infinity, the supernal is. And in my mind, just because it feels appropriate, you do not show up near the edge wherein lies the two-headed dragon of the Aeon. There is nothing here for you save a small hut with a man inside.
Of course it is. And Legba knows that when you come into another's it's not, you wouldn't say territory, but that's, it's a territory of the person. How do I come onto another's land, right? You must acknowledge them, even if there's a consequence for you. And especially as Legba, right? He does not transgress another's threshold without some form of respectful acknowledgement.
Yep. Yeah. And it's just, he sits quietly watching you, as he has probably watched many a mage. He watches, he beckons with a smile and pushes open the front, flap of his little, is it a hut or a tent? I can't remember. But he opens the door just a little bit and beckons you. It's like I think he even says, just looking at your face, right? There's an easier way.
He nods and he says, I thank you. No, he says, I thank you for your offer of hospitality. The easy way. No, that's not what he says. He says, gains are sometimes commensurate with the effort you put into obtaining them. If I choose the easy way for this, I will not get what I seek.
Big buff Legba goes, no pain, no gain.
Exactly.
And with that, Ralph, would you do me a favor? And roll.
Oh,
we haven't rolled in a minute.
Oh my god, I gotta do the rolling. Oh geez.
Do. Yeah.
Yep.
Resolve.
Okay.
Plus composure.
Oh geez. Yep. Oh, let's make it happen.
I need 15 successes in 8 rolls.
Oh baby. Okay. This ain't no guarantee.
Nope.
Let's hope that all these years of meditation pull off.
Yep.
Or help out. Okay. Resolve composure. And here for everyone out there is where Ralph and most people experience regret from having spent their experience on Arcana instead of boosting their attribute dots. I mean, Legba is fine with all composure. You're good at, I know. I'm just making a joke about how oftentimes the attribute rolls become really important for things.
Yep.
All right, cool. Oh, wait a minute. Let me see something. Let's check out, because this is relevant. Where's the dang blue book?
Oh, yeah. Let's make sure we're doing that rule correctly.
Yes, exactly. I don't want to cheat. It's easy to forget things. There we go. Cool. Chronicle of Darkness revised. God, this book is 9 years old now.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, I know. Just anyway.
Oh, there's
sometimes
a specific
the oldies are the
merit that you have, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, it's +3 for 4 singles. I just wanted to make sure it was, no penalties, environmental penalties to meditation, even from wound penalties. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't like a dice trick. Yeah, it is just +3. Cool.
Because I looked at meditation by itself, and I was like, this is +1. Hang on.
That doesn't say.
You have, because what merit is it?
4 meditated mind.
That's right. Thank you.
Yep. Cool. So you got it. All right. So spinning willpower. He's going to deplete himself one way or another. All right. Let's see. Where's my... I can't see because I opened my window too big. There we go.
3 successes. For those following along and looking at the rolls, that's resolve plus composure plus willpower +3 from meditative mind.
Cool. All right. Roll 1. Here is roll 2.
Woo. Oh, well, okay. This will be okay.
All right. So we have a chance now. We have a chance.
All right, Ralph, I need to translate for podcast folks. He just got 7 successes. So, Ralph, I need 5 successes in 6 rolls.
All right. Okay. We have a chance. That's
probably okay.
It's probably okay. Let's just, let's not assume anything. Bad things have happened. So, okay.
4 successes. We are at
4.
14 of 15.
Okay. Let's do it.
These will be the most curse rolls coming up here.
Yeah. That's right. Give it the last roll. It's like playing a game 7.
1 success in NBA Finals. 5 rolls, please.
All right, let's see. Can I do this?
And another 7. All right. It's one of the things I love about just like, all right, we're gonna put the dice there.
Yep. 4 rolls, so he's down 4 willpower. Okay, gotta check it because it's relevant for.
It's definitely relevant.
It's
for those folks at home who aren't quite sure what is happening. Don't worry. What I'm doing right now, and the reason I am not narrating anything, is we're rolling the dice, and then we're going to see where we end up. Ralph does know what he is rolling for. Those of you who do know what he's rolling for, post in the comments. So you can say, hey, I knew this. So yes, you've passed the first trial. Second trial, easier, but not an extended roll. I need you to spend a point of willpower. A dot of willpower, which you could use from your depleted willpower. And then roll resolve plus gnosis. And just need a single success.
All right. Gotcha. I'm going to spend a willy.
Please do. Because one is bad. The other is devastating.
Yep, real bad. All right, come on. I forgot you got to click Gnosis first before you select anything else.
It's just cranky.
What the heck? Okay, let's do that. Resolve Gnosis. Okay, spend a willpower, which means...
I'm afraid. I'm so nervous.
Yeah. Oh my God, we don't know. I could easily fail this. Okay. See anything else can help with this? Nope. Let's see. Come on now. Ooh,
another 7 successes.
That's pretty good. All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
After we agreed that, yes, let's roll the dice on this, I have been nervous.
Yep. Hey, it's not a guarantee. Imagine if he had depleted all his willpower and then he gets to the end and then there's one more roll. And hey, I mean, still a decent dice pool, but it's possible for it not to work out. I mean, this is storyteller system for a reason. So,
yep.
Yeah.
So Legba lifts his foot, stepping over the abyss, and leans. And the abyss reaches up to grab him. It takes him. It does not pull, but it wraps and envelops like our favorite hero, Venom.
Hey, yeah, cool. Awesome.
And so from
abyssal tendrils.
Correct. The view from the man at the hut looks over and sees just this foot leaning over the abyss and just wrapped in nothingness. This nothingness that has come up from the pit of nothingness. And Legba sits through all the detriments of all the paradox he's ever cast, which fortunately is low. He has fought so hard to maintain a high wisdom, has had such control. There are things, especially early on in
absolutely
being a mage, early on in some of those first actions, the paradox that technically happened but was handled by, or I guess it technically wouldn't have even happened, was risked in his awakening, but Numa
that's what I was about
handled.
To say.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the paradox never actually happened, but the threat of it, which I definitely think the Abyss is like, man, you started out doing all this. And it's like, what? No. Thank you, Abyss. I didn't. That's all you. That is a nothing that happened. That is an unreality that did not happen. And the other threats and concerns of the Abyss, of paradox, and the effects that it can have on you. And then you step free and you are visited by I would say entities of the Loa.
Oh, great.
Who reach forth and like take your hand and step you out of this terrible like darkness. And they're like, welcome. We're so glad that you have taken the courage to step across. What can we bequeath upon you? What gifts can we give you? And there is something in the back of Legba's mind that goes, hang on.
Yep.
And like one of the faces droops just ever so slightly. And Legba's like, no, I'm good. And like the very polite, let me take my arm back, and like, I'm going to keep walking. I'm not going to be pulled. I'm not going to be cajoled. I'm not going to be bartered for. I am going to do this. And you feel the step complete and actually pass by the abyss. Both the dangers and corruption you have caused or could cause, and then past all the wonderful little non-things that exist, that could exist and could give you anything you want. Everything is down here. All the things that don't exist but could, were all down here.
Oh, can I offer something then? Which probably tormented him a lot and was hard for him. One, all the paradoxes he was striving against creating, because his mind was certainly racing while he wasn't dreaming.
Yep.
All the things that he dreamed he could have caused if he didn't exert this rigid control. So he probably ended up tormented by the things he was trying to avoid doing, because they're non-things. They didn't happen.
Correct.
But he was still dreaming that he would cause some great devastation.
Yep.
So they're like, he must face it at some point. And then, he probably also one last glimpse at what his life would have been like if the meddling hadn't happened, because that awakening didn't happen. It's a non-thing now. And it was so alluring when he was first able to see it. And now he can see it with much greater vividness.
Yep. Yeah. An awakening. I mean, so many things could have gone wrong. And I mean, you've already seen one reality that did happen, but isn't.
Yeah.
Where you awoke as a Obrimos, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And then
his mentor was alive.
Mm-hmm. But also the acknowledgement, because you have to acknowledge it, that Archmage Rilla saved you.
Yep.
That by the twisting and nudging of moment in your awakening where you snatched up everybody and said, teleport me out of here.
Yeah.
Of all the places to end up, some town in Colorado instead of the middle of the ocean. Or, I mean, I'm gonna throw this out here. Some place with black people.
Yes, exactly.
That would have been a little bit more comfortable, but instead, Colorado.
Yeah.
And
working in the mines.
Yep. And so, like, all these other ways that it could have gone, and let's be honest, you roll the die, you end up in the middle of the ocean somewhere. But all these different things that could have been, but Archmage Rilla put you where you needed to be. She also wanted you to be. But where
she needed us to be, but it's also where we needed to be.
Yep. And then probably in the back of your head, the question of is somebody else out there messing with stuff, right?
Yeah.
But then come the next trial, wherein you see, Legba sees the supernal realm, sees pandemonium, but this is the thing that for new mages you have seen. And there was the watchtower reaching out and guarding you with what Legba probably knows as the lustrum that protects you. Cool, great. Unfortunately, you did not come here into the supernal realms by way of the watchtower, the oracles, if you believe in them, or anything like that. You just decided, I'm just going to jump on over here the way I threw myself bodily into the Temenos. I'm going to step here, and you are dying. And then by an act of will, where you draw on your resolve and your gnosis and give up a little bit of your willpower, you go, hang on. This space right here is mine. I have carved it out where I can exist here. It is a bubble, right? But it is everything that makes Legba Legba. It is a shadow name envisioned. Suddenly, very quickly populated with symbols that, because let's be honest, Legba doesn't summon a lot of supernal beings, but ones that, as soon as as soon as Legba sees them, feel familiar. Symbols of guidance. I believe at one point we have seen a symbol of the threshold or the crossroads. But these things that make up Legba and resolve and stand before you, arrayed in challenge, but not a like it's time to throw down, but more of a, all right, time to prove yourself kind of situation. We are the things that you reflect, right? Are you going to be welcome among us, or do you fail to reflect us properly? Right. Ooh, and so you have, Legba has this small space, this lustrum where he can exist, built up by symbols of Les Enfants, of Purgatory Bluff, of stepping back from violence, both as you had done previously, but even more recently, where you just gave that up from a year of your life, and the more recent, and the thing that pushed you is this: I need to be able to do more with my magic for Purgatory Bluff, for sleepers. Right?
Yes, specifically.
A selflessness aspect here where it's like, in order to lead and care for, I must serve, which has been very much a Legba thing. And stepping forth. And, well, fortunately, you have fluent high speech.
That's right.
Because as you look across, there is the... in my head, it is this dual aspected being of emotion, right? Which has often been Legba's thing, right?
Yeah.
Way back when, angry or very, very controlled. Now, very impassioned and is able to jump into things, but sometimes when things are hard, it's like, well, no, I'm going to pull on that patriarchal, reserved, let me judge on this logically and ignoring your feelings about a situation. And man, I do not know what a supernal being of emotion looks like.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But it floats forward, and this is a thing. The only reason they even take form is to be something that mages can comprehend. Is that whole be not afraid biblical angel situation. But it moves forward. I'm imagining just a roiling chaos of color, right?
That seems like perfect supernal of passion.
Yes. And it just stands before you, and it in fluent high speech, in a voice that is not a voice, because hi, welcome, you are out of your depth, and just in tones, not even speaking, just the words are in your mind, and you had that moment as a Mystique is going, do I have a mind here? What is here? Because I just teleported into the Temenos, and that was weird, and now I'm and like there is a darkness behind you that is still reaching if you slip, kind of thing. Now, fortunately, we do know you've already made the roll, but I'm asking...
Legba doesn't.
Right.
Legba doesn't.
I'm asking Ralph, how do you think Legba resolves dealing with the challenge of emotion and the way he pushes it away when things are tough?
Well, the way he's dealt with his vice and virtue is this methodical mastigos idea that you turn your weakness into a strength, or strength becomes a weakness, and you move on, you find another one, right? Like you rely on something, you find a new strength, but you rely on that strength too long, it could become a crutch as well. So he has often performed his feelings in certain places in order to get people to trust him, because his inclination is to keep them to himself, because he's considered it a source of vulnerability, right? It's not an uncommon thing among people. Yes, exactly. And he receives this intonation, this interaction with this supernal as a question of really like, what are your feelings if they're not genuine? Why don't you just let your actual feelings come out? You walk around as this person trying to share goodwill, good cheer, and inspiration, but you don't always feel inspired. Sometimes you feel bored. Sometimes you feel annoyed. You know this. You just because you sequester those Goche somewhere else and you ignore them doesn't mean they don't exist, as you witnessed just recently in your dreams. And so then he remembers what he just did and what his daemon just made him do. And if you're going to feel your feelings, sometimes you need to dive right into them. You can't think of them. It's just something you push buttons and you control. And so he then says in response in high speech, right? If you challenge, then I might not be able to be in your midst. Let you attempt to be in mine. And he jumps into the supernal.
Not like the being, you mean?
The being. Yeah.
I was like, are you jumping out of the lustrum? Because I'm just going to, there's no die rolls there. Yeah.
No. That's not what he means.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. No, just fully embracing it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that.
If you're a roiling mass of passion, I will be in a roiling mass of passion. Let the roiling mass of passion see what's in me.
Yep. So Legba embraces odium.
Yes. Oh.
Probably quite a few folks of you who got that. We'll see in the YouTube comments. For everybody else, go read Brendan Sanderson. Yes.
Gotta read it. Gotta read it, folks.
So with that, you embrace emotion, which there is no warm, happy, fuzzy feeling here, right? Because that itself is an emotion. You just feel your emotions and just and just are okay with it. And like you feel what you feel.
Yeah.
And then the lustrum starts to fade. Excuse me, no, it doesn't start to fade. It starts to change. And this is where I will yield to you to tell me what your Sintamani looks like.
Ooh, yeah. You know what it looks like? It looks like a little house in a yard. A bunch of dogs and coyotes.
Like that.
With a road that leads off that has a crossroads. Somewhere over the horizon, you see there's a sea. You can get elsewhere. There's a clothesline in back. Some well-worn, but not bare linens hanging and flapping in the breeze. There's an apple tree and a sagging rock fence, low fence along the back. There's a swing hanging from one of the branches of that tree. There's a rocking chair on the porch. I'd say, what else? What else is there? There is... Yeah, some markers on the crossroads. There are 4 signs on the crossroads marker. One says freedom. One says truth. One says belief. And the other says, what does it say? Oh, I know what it says. It says children.
The big symbols that make Legba's golden road. Or rather, the sanctum sanctorum within the supernal realm. Of course, and we have to be clear for folks at home, it's not the chantry, right? That's where Archmage Rilla took them, which is a copy of a place that exists. This is the deepest, darkest, most intimate place for an Archmaster. This is their foothold, their tiny little toe in the supernal realm, where they're like, haha, I'm here. I'm in. I have carved this space out. It is mine, so I can come and visit. And you stand there and turn back and see a golden road leading across the abyss back to, I guess technically, the astral and the Anima Mundi.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where we'll end our episode.
Oh, yeah!
Oh! So, folks at home, hi. Welcome to the next bit of shenanigans for the gang as we work towards the end of Into the West, where it's going to be weird. Things are going to be a little different. You probably have noticed we're not rolling a ton of die because at this point, the magic that they can cast is pretty extensive. And because of that, I was like, you know what? Yeah, you guys don't really have enough challenges. So we're just going to step it up and find new challenges. And as you may have guessed from what I guess would be the last episode that came out. Well, no, not the last episode, but the end of the previous season. With we are up against the God Machine and its creation. Yeah, normal mages aren't up against that. That's something that you get the whole Avengers squad together to handle, which our squad is a little bit small for, or you bring out bigger guns.
It's big enough to eat shawarma together. You know what I mean?
Yep. So, yes, this is where we're headed. How long this will last, I have no idea. I've never run Archmages before. But I'm pulling obviously heavily from Imperial Mysteries and winging it a little bit, but I have a story laid out. We will be delving into their stories and some of the, I don't want to say tragedy, but the drama of, hi, you're an Archmaster now. So there are people you've left behind because your existence is very, very different. For Legba, that's okay. Legba has already stepped back from Liaison Fawn and even in Purgatory Bluff in general, view him as a leader, but he has dogs. There's no family. Isabel, Theo.
Yeah.
We're going to see what happens there. We're also going to see how their die rolls go. Because things may change. So that'll be fun. Look forward to these next episodes. On the plus side, one down. And when you guys watch these episodes, the others will have already done stuff. So if Into the West ends very, very short, it's because nobody else made it across and Legba has to solo the God Machine, and we may have a very sad end to our Chronicle. I don't think that's going to happen. But yes.
You know what it'll do? You know what it'll do?
So we're going to dive into the abyss. We're going to pull everybody back out.
That's right.
Yep. So yes, thank you all for coming. Thank you for supporting us. Again, if you want to come chat about this and yell and scream about this particular episode, that's www.yeetinto.space. Come join the Discord chat. And if you want to support us monetarily, that's www.staylucky.club. And again, a reminder, not needed. None of us rely on your cash. It's just extra stuff for dealing with art for maybe new characters or tech and gizmos and other stuff like that we may need. We'll see you next time.
Adios.